Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Brooklyn Technical High School Virtual College Fair powered by StriveScan. Welcome for being here, my panelists and presenters. You're not on just yet, Michael, so feel free to turn off your video at this point. Now, with that said, I do have a few housekeeping items before we get started. Remember, my name is Sibel. I am your facilitator for today's session. A couple housekeeping items. Remember, you are muted and your video is turned off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. So you're probably wondering, well, Sibel, how in the world do I ask all of the questions that I have for these schools? Well, that in and of itself is a great question. You are going to click that Q&A button in your Zoom toolbar. So if you look at your Zoom toolbar now, somewhere in the middle will be a Q&A button, and that is where you're going to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. Now, it is about 45 minutes in this session. As we all know, time flies when we're having a good time. So please make sure you do not wait until the last minute to ask these questions. It is very important. You can ask them throughout, and the panelists and presenters will answer them throughout the session. Also, with that said, if you could please make sure you put the school's name within the question. Again, put the school's name within the question, just so we all know who the question goes to. That would be super helpful. We do have one more session happening after this for Brooklyn Technical High School. But again, today is the last day for these virtual college fairs. So you're more than welcome to check the schedule on the website to see what that looks like. Now, if mom missed out on today, a cousin wants to check out things, or maybe a friend wants to check out these schools too, or maybe you just want to relive the fun with us, you can absolutely do so. All of these sessions are being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. Now, with that said, I would love to get started with our first institution up for today, Pratt Institute.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege, and I'm going to get started right away because we have a time constraint. So let's get going. Since 1887, Pratt has been a leader in art, design, and architecture education, leading the world over. We consist of all 50 states, over 70 countries, and at our present, we are 32% international. Okay, we offer over 22 different art and design majors and concentrations. And we also have an equal number of minors. Something to keep in mind when you're applying to art and design school is that it's impossible to double major because of the studio practice, just too much time in the studio. So instead of having double majors, we have minors. We do not encourage nor discourage minors. They're merely part of the support system that we provide to help students achieve their professional and creative goals. Okay, we have a 9-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Everyone that teaches at Pratt is working in their field. This is both in the studio and outside the studio. So for example, if you have an English class or a writing class and they're not working or writing in that particular field, then they're not teaching at Pratt. All right, our main campus is amazing. It's an oasis in the heart of downtown Clinton Hill, the historic neighborhood of Clinton Hill, Brooklyn, which is down the street from you or the neighborhood next door. So we're literally 10 minutes down DeKalb Avenue. So I encourage all of you to come visit and see our amazing campus. All right, here you can see students taking advantage of studio spaces, the classroom, and our amazing campus. 86% of first years live on campus and 53% of upperclassmen. We guarantee reserved housing for all students who want it, and all our dormitories are on campus. Pratt is actually the only art and design school on the East Coast that has a true campus. Because of that, we have obviously dining halls. We have amazing student life and clubs and places for you to join. I'm just going to highlight two of my favorite. Static Fish is our graphic novel publication. It's been around for over 40 years. And Pratt Radio, which was instrumental in bringing hip hop, punk, and new wave to the Brooklyn neighborhoods. We have a ton of study abroad opportunities. I'm encouraging students to check on the website. Just due to COVID, the programs that are running currently are Berlin, Copenhagen, Venice, and Milan. But we have programs in Seoul, we have programs in Tokyo, we have programs in Taipei, we have programs in Sydney. We have programs in Athens, we have programs in South Africa and Cuba. It's a really robust way to enhance your education experience. We're NCAA Division III, and we do have athletics. If we don't have your sport here, feel free to reach out to our athletic director, and it is possible to have a one-person team. Resources are a huge part of why someone should choose to go to college, particularly art school. We have the most state-of-the-art labs and technology available to our students. And we also have a lot of opportunity for students to show work and make work in what we would consider more archaic ways, like casting or raku kilns for ceramics and things like that. So we teach the full gambit through the history of the discipline to the most up-to-date technological techniques. Studio spaces are huge. Many students at Pratt will have a studio from the moment they walk on campus, and other students will get them throughout their education time. Our library is an amazing facility. It has over 250 volumes, physical volumes, and we're registered with the Greater London Library Association of the 5 boroughs. So if we don't have it, we can get it. And it's also an amazing structure. It was actually the first free public library in Brooklyn, and it was designed by Tiffany Glass. All right. Pratt is in a partnership with its students. So should you need anything, should you learn differently, should you have any type of health or cultural thing that you want to put in place, whether it's spiritual worship, whatever it might be, dietary issues, reach out to us and we'll make sure all those things are in place for you before you get there. And that's the same with navigating your payment plan and the finances involved with you paying for your education. We have a 99% placement rate in jobs and within 1 year of graduation, and that's the highest of any art and design institution in higher ed in the country. This is a resource that you have access to for life, so you can get career guidance and counseling at any time. All right, here's some examples of where we have internships. Pratt is full of famous alum. All right, so we are test optional, so we need your application, we need your portfolio, and we need it by the deadline that you are applying to. We also require official high school transcripts from all the high schools that you've attended. All right. Financial aid is done through the FAFSA. So anyone who fills out a FAFSA will automatically be considered for financial aid. And anyone who completes their application to Pratt will be considered for a merit scholarship. We also participate in HEOP, which is an absolutely amazing program and assumes 98% of the cost of attendance for New York State residents, whether they be US citizens or green card holders. If you think you might be eligible for HEOP, ask your guidance counselor, talk to them about it, have a discussion, and then reach out to me. Because if you do, we have a history of taking students from Brooklyn Tech and they do very well at Pratt. And it's also a way to go to Pratt 98% cost free. All right, the visual portfolio is probably the thing that stresses students out the most about applying to an art and design school, okay? And we have a very open portfolio. We ask for 12 to 20 pieces of your best work, whatever type of work you're making. You don't have to have major specific work, okay? We do ask to see some observational drawing. Here's some examples of that now. All right, all portfolio submissions are done through SlideRoom. And for those of you who might be a little bit younger and might be interested in gaining some insight into what college is like, we do have an amazing pre-college program for our summer program. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to put my contacts in the chat. Reach out to me at any time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If you have any questions for Pratt Institute, please put it in the Q&A. Next up, we have Union College.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for allowing me to take a part of your evening. My name is Michael Moore, one of the associate deans. I am the Brooklyn Tech Dean Admissions Officer, and I invite you all to reach out to me. I'll put my contact in the chat shortly. Union College, as the name implies, is where things come together, not just people, but also platforms, ideas, initiatives. At Union College, even though we're small, 2,200 students, we talk a great deal about power. So one of the things I want you to focus on today is power. So at Union, we talk about the power of union, again, coming together, but we also take it another step and talk about it as connection. Obviously, our faculty and staff are available. You'll become one of the 2,200 brothers or sisters or siblings on our campus under what we call the Laws of Minerva, or our Minerva program, which is part of our residential model that every one of our students, every faculty member is a member of one of the 7 Minerva houses that is designed to give the students a platform to share their wisdom and connect the rest of the campus and the community around us. So not only do faculty members have their castles where they're kings and queens, their classrooms, so to speak, but we also have that platform for students, which we call, again, our Minerva houses. We talk a lot about the power of immersion or integration. So the power of integration is how we allow students, expect students to study in different areas. For us, it's not just an option, or not only an option or an opportunity. We like to tell our students that they should expect to do interdisciplinary study. About 82, 83% of our students are actually studying in interdisciplinary forms, where it might be engineering paired with dance, or philosophy paired with English and economics. But that is more of again, an expectation that you will have an integrated program. We don't require it, but the type of students that we attract typically don't like being told what they have to do, or that they have to stay in their lane, so to speak. So keep that in mind as we talk about expectations. The power of immersion is another one of the powers that Union embodies. And that immersion might take place in research. Again, an expectation. About 85% of our students are participating in original research, where they get to work with our faculty members. We are completely undergraduate, so every TA on our campus, every research assistant, every lab assistant is one of your peers, 18, 19, 20-year-old student. And every student has that opportunity. They're formal channels, but oftentimes students are kind of cherry-picked after just showing up at class and being their awesome selves to participate with our faculty in their research. We talk a lot about the power of inclusion. Every student on our campus is expected to show up with their full armor and their full identity of who they are. I talked about the Minerva programs, where our students bring and connect us through wisdom. So we expect you to show up and be yourself. Obviously, there's room to grow into the person that you are destined to become. But as you do that, we want to learn from you. We read your applications, every part of which that we take into account when we make admissions. We are a holistic process. You're submitting 2 recommendations. You're submitting a personal statement. You're telling us why you chose us. So we expect you to bring that with you, and not to expect to come to our campus and just feel like you have to fit into what is, quote unquote, a Union College student. There really is no such thing. And we also talk about this as an every student model. Can every student play Division I ice hockey? Absolutely not. But will every student have an expectation that they are going to contribute to the spirit of our campus? Can every student ride a bicycle? Maybe not, but they have the expectation that they will find recreational outlets to get to know the city around us, and to exercise their minds, their bodies, and their spirits. So again, everything that we do at Union is about educating every student, developing every student to lead with wisdom, empathy, and courage, addressing problems large and small, and to do it across multiple tomorrows. So obviously this foundation is not just set up so that you get a job. That's not our job. We are a liberal arts college that is very balanced. We are about 50-50 between students that are studying STEM, about another 50% of our students are studying humanities, arts, and social sciences. We also have the unique designation of being the first liberal arts college to offer an engineering program. So I've worked at technological institutions, as well as a couple of other liberal arts colleges. And in each of those circles, I've heard colleagues, friends, recruiters talk about Union College being a great liberal arts college or a great engineering college, when the reality is we're all of the above. So take that into account as you prepare to visit Union College. We've been open. We continue to be open. We have tons of different opportunities to visit. We even have buses that come up to our campus to bring you up to visit from New York City. So admissions, I mentioned before, it is a holistic approach. We are test optional. We've been such for 14 years. We have 100% of need that we meet for every student that we admit. We have merit-based aid as well. And we also have these strangely named grants that we call MUP awards, or Make Union Possible awards, for families whose estimated family contribution might be $20,000 to $30,000 on either side of our total cost, which is around coming up to about $80,000. So even those students get some aid as well. So thank you, and I look forward to getting to know you even better. Take care.
Thank you so much. If you have any questions for Union College, please put it in the Q&A. Next up, we have Masi University, New Zealand.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello from New Zealand. It's Friday here, 10:15 a.m. So we're in time for you guys. And the reason I'm presenting here is I really want you to think further away, more than what you have. You don't have to stay in the US. You can, of course, it's a choice, but try something new. Try to come to New Zealand. It is feasible. It is possible. It's a real option. If you look at the name Masi University in Maori, in New Zealand, we speak English and Maori. Everybody speaks English, but Maori is kind of the flair, the special thing, the cultural thing, the additional thing that is different from the rest of the world. So Masi University in Maori is called Te Kunenga Ki Purehurua, which literally means from inception to infinity. With us, it's about getting you where you want to go, getting you to reach the stars, if that's what you want to do. We will push you, we will allow it, but you will tell us where you want to go. Right. Main thing I want you to check, New Zealand is not down under like Australia. We like to call ourselves on top of the world if you look at the map in the right way. So this is what you find in the souvenir shops in New Zealand, trying to make a difference between what is Australia and what is New Zealand. Right, why New Zealand? There's a lot of reasons to want to enjoy and experience the lifestyle that we have in New Zealand. Just as an interesting fact, 25% of the population living in New Zealand today were born outside New Zealand. So if you come to New Zealand, you will not be the odd one out. One in every 4 people you meet will be a foreigner themselves, if they are not the children or grandchildren of somebody who came from abroad. So being new means you're coming, you're bringing something, and everybody values who you are and what you have to bring. We want to teach you what New Zealand has on offer, but we want to learn from you as well. So now, why would you want to come all the way from the US? First point, bachelor degrees in New Zealand are 3 years only. You would finish so much faster than if you stay in the US, which means it would also be a smaller investment. We are registered for US financial aid, so you don't miss out on that either. You're still being able to get all those support that you get from the US. Thirdly, New Zealand is a friendly and open and safe environment. Most of all, the safe part is quite important. New Zealand was the first country that used to create the Code of Conduct for Pastoral Care of International Students. What that means is we are committed to make sure you are safe, you're happy, and you're reaching what you're expecting when you come to New Zealand. If you are unhappy with the quality of education, you can actually complain to the New Zealand government, and the New Zealand government will request explanation from the university. So it's that strong, it's that legal in the sense of we will make sure you are fine. We have accommodation on campus. You can also choose to live with a selected family to live the New Zealand, the Kiwi experience. All right, tuition fees, they would usually be cheaper than if you go out of state. So it's still affordable in that sense. And we are internationally recognized. We have many students from the US coming to New Zealand because they know that their degree will be recognized when they go back. We have the recognition as being equivalent to a School of Arts and Design. We have accreditation with the Veterinary Association in the US and many more programs in order. And our application process is extremely easy. We don't need a testimonial, we don't need a statement, we don't need CVs, we don't need most of our programs. You just need your academic transcript, your ACT or SAT result, and a copy of your passport or birth certificate. That's all. You go online, you upload them in the system. You don't even need to send us physical copies in the first instance. We will want to see the originals when you come to New Zealand. But in order to and tell you, yes, come over, you have an offer. If you want to join us, you're okay. That easy. Right. So that's New Zealand. We have 3 campuses. It's the only university that is across the country. So Auckland is the largest city, 1.5 million people. Palmerston North is where Masi University started. It's an agricultural area. It's a city of around 90,000 people, and it has become basically a university city. Everything is about research, education, agriculture, nature. So it's that really authentic Kiwi environment. And Wellington is the capital of New Zealand, although it only has around 400,000 people. And it's also called the capital of arts. So that's why our School of Arts and Design is based in Wellington. And finally, we have distance education. We started with distance education over 50 years ago. So when COVID hit, it was absolutely no problem for us. It was just switch, go online. You could start online from the US, see if you like the study style, and then come to New Zealand and continue on campus. So you have flexibility, that freedom, or change campus while you're studying here. You live a while in Palmerston and move to Auckland, as long as the program is fully offered in both campuses. Right? Massey covers nearly everything: sciences, engineering, agriculture, as I said, vet studies, business. We are one of the largest business schools in New Zealand and one of the oldest ones as well. Health sciences, humanities and social sciences, liberal arts, anything to do with sociology, history, education. So it's really the whole lot. Creative arts, from design to fine arts to movie, TV, online, digital technologies, and all that. So you have a whole range of options. And finally, just to give you a quick glance at our tuition fee. So if you see a bachelor would cost 20,000 US per year on your tuition fee. So it is possible, and calculate about 11,000 at least US for your living expenses. So that's me just finishing up quickly, and I hope this helps you, and I'll send you a link with more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you have any questions for Massey University, New Zealand, please put them in the Q&A. Next up, we have Wesleyan University.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janet Ortiz. I'm a Senior Assistant Dean of Admission at Wesleyan. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, and definitely excited to answer some questions. So if you do have questions, again, we will chat in the Q&A. But Wesleyan is a small liberal arts college. We're located in Middletown, Connecticut. Middletown is literally the town that's in the middle of New York City and Boston, so about 2 hours outside of New York City, definitely accessible as well through the Metro North going into Grand Central. And, you know, overall, I would say Middletown is a smaller size city, definitely nothing like New York City, but there is a main street with about 75 restaurants and stores, a lot of great food. So that's just, you know, one of the things that I personally love about Middletown. Wesleyan, this is just an overall view of our campus. Right here in the front row is this row of buildings called College Row. This is our historic part, our oldest part of the college. And you can see in the back here, Olin Library. Across from that is Exley Science Center, where we have a science library. Right in the middle is Foss Hill, and I'll talk about Foss Hill in a little bit as well. But this is just kind of an overview. As you can see, it's not a very large campus. We do have about 3,000 undergraduate students on this campus. It's a fully residential campus. End to end, I would say it's about a 15 to 20-minute walk. So it definitely is going to be very likely a much shorter commute, so to speak, to classes and things like that than you maybe currently have. But overall, this is just you know, a bird's eye view of campus. One thing that's really special about Wesleyan is that we have an open curriculum. This is definitely a really unique piece of our institution. The open curriculum means that we don't have a single required course. Wesleyan students are completing one major and they're completing 32 credits in order to graduate. You can complete one major or you can complete 2 majors. You can even triple major at Wesleyan. There are 45 majors to choose from, 30 minors and 3 certificates. And over the year, there are typically going to be about 1,000 courses that are offered. Class sizes at Wesleyan are small. So the average class size is about 19 students, an 8-to-1 student to teacher ratio. opportunities to do research, opportunities to really, connect with professors. If that's something that you're looking for, it is definitely something that's possible at Wesleyan as well. The open curriculum, if you are interested in it, I would definitely suggest you to do a little bit more research into it, because again, it is a really unique piece of Wesleyan where you will never be required to be in a class that you didn't hand select yourself. So that's definitely one of the biggest draws, I think, of Wesleyan overall, but also the open curriculum. At Wesleyan, we are a fully residential college, so 3,000 undergraduate students all living on campus. It's done in a progressive model where students are becoming more and more independent as they go. So in your first year, you're typically going to be in a residence hall. That's kind of like a typical dorm like you'll see here. We also have program houses, about 30 program houses. These are kind of basically 25 to 30 students living in a cooperative style of living, and they each have a mission. So for example, there's Outhouse for students that enjoy the outdoors, Film House for students that are really interested in film, Music House, American Sign Language House. There are tons and tons of program houses and just a really cool living opportunity. We also have 2 to 4 person apartments at Wesleyan, but I think what students look forward to the most is definitely the wood frame houses here. And this is an opportunity to live with 2 to 6 of your closest friends, getting to know them, but also getting to know, I guess, the responsibilities that come with an adult, cleaning your living room, washing your dishes, taking out your trash. Students really enjoy it, but also Wesleyan is your landlord. So if something breaks, a toilet breaks, a sink breaks, Wesleyan will be there to fix it. This is, again, like I mentioned, just the center of campus, Foss Hill. You see on a nice day, students will go out, hang out, and picnic. They'll sit and watch a baseball game. We even have reunion and commencement on Foss Hill, where you'll see current students watching, their friends graduate. So it's a really central part of just campus life overall, and is physically the center of our campus too. Some admission and financial aid requirements at Wesleyan. We are an institution that has 2 rounds of early decision, so ED1 and ED2. We also have a regular round. That's a January 1st deadline. Wesleyan is test optional, and by that I truly mean that we're test optional. We've been test optional since 2014, and certainly don't plan to do away with that anytime soon. And by truly test optional, I mean that it's absolutely up to you to decide whether or not you submit your test scores. If you choose not to submit your test scores, it will not hurt your chances of admission. We also don't have a supplement at Wesleyan, and currently there's no application fee for students that are applying for financial aid. So if you are applying for financial aid, what would typically be a $65 application fee through the Common App, that will be waived for you. Financial aid is something that is really important to Wesleyan. We meet 100% of demonstrated need for every single admitted student. We only have need-based aid, so we don't have any merit scholarships or athletic scholarships. And as you can see, it is a priority to us. We spend about $75 million in financial aid each year. And for families that are making less than $120,000 a year, your financial aid package will not include any student loans. Overall, if you're on financial aid at Wesleyan, the maximum amount of loans that you'll take out is $19,000 over 4 years, though for most students that is oftentimes less. And the best way to get a sense of, how might a Wesleyan education be affordable for me and my family is to use the net price calculator. So I definitely suggest looking into that for financial aid. But if you do have any questions, definitely feel free to, again, put those questions in the chat or in the Q&A section. And I'll also be dropping some more information down in the chat box. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If you have any questions for Wesleyan University, please put it in the Q&A. All right, my panelists and presenters, I'd love to have you back. I actually have a few questions for you all because our audience would love to know some of this information. So come on back. I'd love to see your beautiful faces. My first question for you all, and we're just going to go in presentation order. My first question for you all is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? So Pratt Institute, you're first.
So my first piece of advice would be just be conscious if you're thinking about going to an art and design school, you're sort of walking into an extra piece of information that you're going to be providing with us. And it's a huge endeavor, and that's the portfolio. So, really try to, make time to speak to someone from the school that you're interested in and get feedback on your work, but also be very cognizant about what they're asking to see in your work, because unfortunately, every art school is looking for something a little bit different. So you want to be very cautious and conscious of what it is that they're looking for and make sure that you're providing that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It does look like we have Alfred University that has come to our virtual college fair. So I'd love to get them in. So if we all could actually just turn videos off again, we'll get back to this question once Alfred is done. So Alfred University, you are good to go. Go ahead and share your screen. And you have about 6 minutes as well.
My apologies, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone that's present with us today. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to us, these different universities. And for now, we're just going to start off with a short clip that'll give you some background information on Alfred University. And afterwards, I'll just talk a bit about Alfred more. And if you have any questions afterwards, you can certainly reach out to me. I'll provide my contact information in the chat box for anyone who may be interested in reaching out.
Leo, I think
a land of maker-believe, where it's safe to make mistakes, be authentic, discover your talents, and dare to be original. Where unique thoughts and ideas are valued, where it's in our nature to be bold, to be free of the ordinary, be deliberate, take risks, be imaginative. Here, innovation and technology meet wilderness trails and dirt buggy challenges. Welcome to Alfred University. We are a talent incubator, embracing creative exploration with wild abandon. Never boring, never stale. This education isn't like the rest. We're a maker culture, after all, where friendships are born, learning is a way of life, and futures are made. Alfred University, outside of ordinary.
All right, wonderful. Alfred University is a small private institution located in Western New York. We have a population size of about 1,800 undergraduate students and about 300 grad school and doctoral students, with class sizes ranging from about 13:1 to 15:1. 15:1 being in our larger school, which is our business school. We also house 4 major different schools: College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, College of Engineering, School of Business, and School of Art and Design. Just a tip, if anyone is interested in business, our School of Business is AACSB accredited. That is the highest possible accreditation in the nation. So we're the second smallest college in the nation that is AACSB accredited, for anyone that might be interested in business. Alfred, also, as you heard in the video, we are a maker culture. So we definitely believe in allowing students to have the opportunity to use their hands in the classroom. Textbook learning is great, but sometimes when you step out into the real world in the workforce, that may not translate as well. And so we believe in both in all of our engineers, even liberal arts students, as well as art and design and business students having real world experiences, such as going abroad to Germany for the German auto industry for our business students, having time in the classroom and working as psychologists and school psychologists and psych majors. Art and design, kind of being out there and having a chance to portray their art and sell it on campus, and so on and so forth. All of these different opportunities translate really well in the workforce. And also these are great things that could be thrown on resumes and things like that. Alfred University also, right now, we are test optional. We require at least 1 letter of recommendation your official high school transcript, and your college essay. Now, based on your high school transcript, you will receive your merit-based scholarship, which will be the biggest chunk of money that you would receive from us. We do have additional scholarship money, which is through an outside entity called Scholarship Universe, but predominantly most of your money will come from your merit-based scholarship, which is divided into different tiers of scholarship levels. And then afterwards, if you do choose to complete the FAFSA, you would receive a financial aid package from us, including both the the merit-based scholarship, as well as the remaining kind of balance of what federal aid is willing to give you. We also have 17 NCAA Division III clubs and organizations, official sports. And so if you have any questions about being a student athlete, I can also help address those as well. I'm going to drop my email down in the chat box for anyone who may have any questions. I actually was a 4-year varsity football player at Alfred myself. So if you have any questions about managing student life or being a student athlete and kind of social life aspect of Alfred University, I could also address those as well. All right. So I just gave you some general information on Alfred. And again, if you would like to reach out to me personally, I'll be more than happy to help any of you all out. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. If you have any questions for Alfred University, please put it in the Q&A. All right, we're gonna go back to our question here. So feel free to come on back, everybody. I'd love to, again, see your beautiful faces. All right, perfect. So I believe the question was, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? Pratt Institute, I believe you were good to go. And then we did Union College. Were you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
All right, go ahead.
My really strategic piece of advice is for parents and students to sit down and decide which day, maybe 2 days a week, that we can discuss or talk about the application. For example, don't make this any more overwhelming for your sons and daughters than it absolutely has to be. I like Sunday with my kids. We picked a Sunday. We would talk Sunday. We had an hour usually where we would have dinner, dessert, and just talk about the college process, where it was going, and then pick back up the next week and check statuses of what had happened. So that's my bit of advice.
Awesome, thank you. Massey University, New Zealand.
All right, me looking at the different universities and presentations, everyone here in the panel just looks amazing. So it's difficult to pick a choice. My recommendation is 2 things. First, try to look backwards. Imagine yourself that you are graduating and looking back at what you did. What experience do you want to have achieved by then? So it's sometimes a good idea to just try to focus from a different perspective to try and narrow down what you're looking for. The second thing is you don't need to limit yourself to one university. Try a few different ones, apply to different ones. And once you have the offers on the table, you can make your final decisions.
Love it. Thank you so much. Wesleyan University.
Yeah, so my one piece of advice would basically just be to abandon the notion of a school that's a perfect fit for you. Definitely keep an open mind and just realizing that there are so many colleges and universities out there, wherever you end up, whether that's at, an Alfred University, a Wesleyan, or a Massey University, they can all serve you very well based on whatever your interests are, and whatever your college experience is, that will largely be determined by how you personally are engaging with the campus and making it your own. So that would be my piece of advice.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Alfred University.
For me personally, one of my pieces of advice that I could give during this process for students is use the resources available on campuses, right? So if you have any questions about the financial aid process, don't hesitate to call campuses, because that's what these people like us are here for. If you have any questions about your application process, definitely reach out to us, whether it's Alfred University, like Janet said, or Wesleyan, or any other institution that you're looking at. Do not hesitate to reach out, because if a school is not willing to help you out through that process, then when you're a student there, you'll probably not receive that assistance that you might need as well. So definitely use the resources. Don't be like me, who during this time, I thought I knew everything and tried to figure it all out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to people, because us all here are more than happy to help you all and make this process as stress-free as possible.
I love it. Thank you so much. All right. Our last question for this session: what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? So Pratt Institute, you're first.
So the first thing I would say is please remember that we are here to work for you. And, to just sort of build on what was just said, we are in this together. And because our school has that extra component that is the portfolio, reach out to us. And not only that, but we're down the street from Brooklyn Tech. So I promise you know how to get to Pratt. It's straight down DeKalb Avenue. So come take a look at us, meet with us. And if you have questions about anything, reach out to us. We can set something up in person. We can set something up virtually, and we can work around your schedule and make sure you have the information and the knowledge you need to move forward.
All right, perfect. With that said, Union College, you are next.
At Union, we are all about intentionality as we engage, and students explore and they thrive. So we develop every student to lead with wisdom, empathy, and courage in ways large and small, now and across multiple tomorrows. So that's what you should expect and remember about Union.
Awesome. Massey University, New Zealand.
Very short one, just think it's possible. So if you want to go to New Zealand, research about it. It is possible. There are means, there are flights, there are direct flights from New York to Auckland, New Zealand. So just give it a go. We are here to support you.
Fantastic. Wesleyan University.
Yeah, so the one thing that I would say about Wesleyan and what I hope you remember is about our open curriculum. I do know that at Brooklyn Tech, students have majors, and whatever major you're currently studying at Brooklyn Tech, you absolutely can continue that at Wesleyan. But the nice thing about the open curriculum is that you can also explore and try different things that are outside of maybe what you're familiar with at Brooklyn Tech. Try new classes that maybe even scare you a little bit. And so within the open curriculum, there's just so much freedom and flexibility. So that's definitely something that you should keep in mind as you look more into Wesleyan.
Awesome. And Alfred University.
For us personally, I believe that all students going through this process just need to remember our slogan, which is outside of ordinary. It kind of goes along with that maker culture, very small, tight-knit community, but again, opportunity for exploration. Also, as what Janet mentioned from Wesleyan, we have a ton of different opportunities. I went into college thinking I wanted to be a lawyer. As you can all tell, that's not what I'm doing now, but that's because I had the opportunity to explore other options. And so we pride ourselves on being outside of the ordinary. We provide students with the ability to learn other things that they might be remotely interested in, and in the long run can fall in love with that. So, outside of the ordinary is definitely one thing that I could, advise students to remember about our school during this process.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much. You heard it here first, everyone. These are the experts, right? Not only of their schools, but also the admissions process. And I even learned a thing or two. So thank you all so much for your answers to these questions. And just thank you so much for being here. What you do is very, very important. And my participants in the audience, what you do is very important as well, which is to show up and learn about these schools. But it is an appetizer session, and we are at the end of it. So please do your due diligence on each institution and see which one is the right one for you. So again, thank you for joining. After you close out this window, a very quick 5-question survey will appear. So please give us some feedback. We do have one more session happening for this evening, but also if you'd like to relive the fun with us, just check out that recording that'll be available at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. With that said, once again, thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye.